Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 121 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast. It's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan. How are you going today?
Very, very well, thank you.
That's good.
What's going down in Hobart town?
Do you ever think, that whole intro you do,
Yes.
do you reckon in 20 years' time or 50 years' time, that'll be like famous?
Well,
Like
it is,
that,
mate.
hey, Saturday intros, and you had all the sale of the century intros. Oh, maybe, 50, 20 years' time, this might take off somewhere and
Yeah.
we'll be dead and gone. But
I don't
I
know.
hope,
It's good just to have something that I can just say at the start of a podcast, because how else am I going to start it?
that's right. It's pretty hard, isn't it?
It is.
Hobart town is a little bit windy tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit cloudy, so there's no pretty lights being shone around here tonight.
No.
But apart from that, it's cold. We're meant to be getting some snow tomorrow down to 500 meters.
Good.
So just in time for me to go up somewhere in the freezing cold forest of the Tarkine and the coastline that faces due west.
Well, that's going to be that'll be quite nice, though. You might get some good stuff.
Yes, we might get some good stuff. We might get some wild seas and coastlines. So we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, Hobart's going well. I'm still in Hobart. Shock of all horrors.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like two episodes in a row. I'm home.
Well, furthermore, there'll be people falling off their chairs and stopping their cars and pulling over to check what's going on, because we've got 2 episodes out in a week.
I know.
Hey, after giving you donuts for 2 weeks, we put 2 into 1 week.
So we're becoming about as frequent as the Aurora. Like we're just happening every night almost now.
Yeah, that's right.
We should just make it a nightly show.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
Now, off the top, we have eclipsed the 800 subs mark
we've
YouTube.
Smashed that barrier.
So thank you, everyone, genuinely thank you, everyone, for subscribing on the YouTube channel, and also for following us on the podcast, wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
Yes.
But you gave me some homework last week.
I did give you some homework.
And I would just...
Did you do the homework? While you're looking at homework up, I want to do a bit of a shout out to Sean from Ireland. He's a photographer. Yes. I think we spoke about him last time. He's found us. He's found the podcast.
Good man.
And
hello, Sean.
He said it's okay. Even better.
It's okay.
It's okay.
That's a glowing endorsement.
That's the best review we've had. So he said it's really good. He enjoyed it. So he shared it around his little network. But he came down. He got some absolute... You know what we might do? Can we share his photo of the Aurora on here? I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Sean, everyone else has, so we might as well too.
We might as well. Sean got an absolute ripper of a shot of this
There
Aurora.
It is in the middle of the screen.
It's in the middle of the screen now. It is a cracking shot from the tessellated pavement.
Yes.
He's a visitor to our country. We might as well show off his work. And I don't think copyright's worldwide, so we can rip his stuff off and we'll be fine.
Thank you, Sean. If you would like a Down South Photo Show hat, get in contact. We'll send you one.
Yes,
that's just because how we roll here at the Down South Photo Show.
We're not posting it to Ireland, are we?
Sure.
Maybe I'll personally deliver it.
You could. You'll be one country over. So the homework was to just update people on where we're at with the show. 121 episodes in, obviously. On YouTube, since we began, we have had 36,500 downloads, which is pretty cool. Right. Happy with that. As I say, most weeks it feels like that they are genuine people who are interested in what we talk about: photography, landscape, the whole Down South Photo Show vibe. And the podcast this week, coincidentally, the audio version of the podcast has just gone past the 20,000 download mark. So
that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, pretty happy with that. So collectively, we're at around 58,000 downloads across the show, which is pretty cool.
We never thought we'd have that many downloads, did we?
I didn't actually think we'd get one. There you go. Whatever.
Well, you know what? We've done something right.
Well, so far so good. So we won't count our chickens.
Any other podcasts that were hanging around, they seem to have disappeared. On the charts this week. On the charts this week, we were the #1 Australian photography show again.
I think we did sneak back into the top 10, didn't we? So, of arts in general, not just photography.
Arts in general, but we're the #1 Australian photography podcast show.
There you go.
So that says one of two things.
Yes.
Either we're really, really good, or there's no one else.
Yeah, I think the latter, but that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been quite the journey so far. We're not going anywhere. We're just thought we'd update people with where we're at.
But it's warming up.
Yeah, and long live the Down South Photo Show. Now let's talk about backgrounds, and I'm going first.
Okay, how about this? How about you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. So
yeah.
He covers his screen. There we go. Now this photo, now this is what I love about digital photography. This photo was taken 30 minutes ago as we're recording this. So this was
Jose.
This is Thursday night. We're recording this on the 16th. This is going out on Friday the 17th, but Thursday night. Little alert went off on the old telephone, and the Aurora was visible again. So I thought, hey, why not? I've got an hour to kill before I get online with Cam and record the show. So
yeah,
snuck down to my favourite beach steps, 9W here at Ocean Grove.
They should just rename that to the BW steps, I think.
Had the whole joint to myself and loaded up the old EM1X with the 7-14, which is fast becoming my favorite lens in my bag for obvious reasons.
I reckon it would be.
And yeah, snapped a few more shots of the Aurora because why wouldn't you? And I reckon, I could be wrong, but as I was taking them, a bit of a sea mist started to come across and the visibility dropped a bit. So
he's also Irish, isn't he?
Say that again?
He's also Irish, isn't he?
Who's that?
Sea mist?
Oh, God. Your background, Cameron, what have you got there?
Let's move on. I'm shit at jokes. All right, let's get my head off the screen. Let's put something worthwhile on there. So this is from the other night. I didn't have the privilege of going out tonight here in Hobart because it's a bit cloudy, and I didn't really want to go out and couldn't really be bummed to go out. So I thought I'd just send up one. This is pointing the other way to last week's episode. So this is pointing almost south, which gives you an indication of the shot I did last week, which is almost pointing north, and it still had Aurora over it. So just a beautiful little shot overlooking. There is actually a bit of fog around those little lights down there, which is nice, but pretty straightforward Aurora shot from that big one the other night. But I didn't get out tonight like you did, so I feel like I let the team down a bit, really.
Nah, it's all good, mate. I mean, I was not anticipating an Aurora tonight at all. It's just the numbers were looking sort of okay just out of the blue, and then someone said, New Zealand's getting an Aurora. And then before I knew it, I was down on the beach.
Our good mate Jamie,
yes,
still in New Zealand.
Yes,
finally gets himself an Aurora. He's taking a photo as we speak.
Good man.
He sent me a picture. He's a funny guy, Jamie. He sent me a picture saying going off in New Zealand, get outside, the Aurora's happening. He sent me this phone shot, and it's a phone shot of the Aurora with this roadworks with all these witches' hats in the foreground. I'm like, dude, that's the worst foreground of all time. Can you not at least move a couple of meters to your left or right and get the witches' hats out of your shot? Anyway, apparently that was just a test shot.
Right. So just to see that the Aurora was there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he told you anyway.
Right.
Which leads me right into one of our main topics for tonight, and it's a follow up on all the. If I say the word Aurora one more time, it's a follow up on all the Aurora activity of the last week. Of course, now after the Aurora dies down, we have the Afterglow, where the photos just inundate social media.
Don't they? What?
Wall to wall. My phone screen looked like a Technicolor yawn for the last 3 or 4 days. It's just
a Technicolored yawn.
There was just wall to wall color, which was great because the Aurora on Saturday will go down in history as one of the best Auroras we've seen. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a few pointers to a few people.
Careful. Be very careful.
Well, Auroras are great. They're awesome. They give you a beautiful backdrop.
I'm just going to sit this one back and listen to this.
No, you've actually said this exact what I'm about to say on the podcast. For God's sake, people, have a look at your foreground. Geez, there's been some ordinary foregrounds, man. Like, I get it though. I get the excitement because the Aurora is so good and you run around like a headless chook, just photograph the Aurora. But, the best photos, and Sean's one that we put up before is clear testament to what I'm saying.
Yes.
Is put something in front of it, mate. Like, let's think about this. The best Aurora shots, hands down, were the ones that had reflections, no question. The ones that had silhouettes of things that you could make out. So the amount of photos I saw down on the beach were, where it was like a shrub and it just looked like this black splodge in front, like blocking the, So just be wary. And again, I get it. It's exciting. You're photographing Aurora. It's very, very cool. However, just be conscious of what you're putting in the foreground of your shot.
Cool. All complaints can be sent to contact@cameraandphoto.com.au because you're going to stir up some shit with this
You
comment.
remembered my email address.
I do. I looked it up before, just so I had it. Yes, it's a bone of contention for me.
Yeah.
Again, I understand. So I think we need to categorize this a bit. I think we did this last time maybe as well. People out there that are just pure iPhone beginners,
Yeah.
shoot whatever you want to your heart's content. But if you have a tripod and you are not getting any decent foregrounds in your shots, please think about it a bit more, because that's what does my head in a bit, is that down here especially, it's the same thing. People standing on the side of the lake or on the side of the ocean or on a lookout, just shooting the sky and nothing, not putting any thought into their foreground. Yes, it does make it look a lot nicer if you've got a foreground. It's not hard to do to find something foreground interest, but people just I think they get a bit lazy and a bit overexcited.
Yeah.
And just forget that, photography still has to be interesting. Your composition has to be interesting. And all they do is just take photos of the same thing. Like there's people down here, and I'm not going to name names, of course, but there's people down here that do the exact same Aurora shot every single Aurora. Like they got their one spot and that's all they go to.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm probably guilty of that as well, but I haven't shot a lot of Auroras. But
Yeah,
I
but
think,
if the spot's shit,
yeah,
don't
that I
keep going
mean,
back there.
okay. So case in point, this background photo right here. I mean,
Yeah,
there's room there for one tripod. That's it.
yeah, yeah,
What else am I going to shoot? I'm going to put those stairs, and those stairs are iconic to Ocean Grove.
yeah,
And there is a big part of me that shoots with a commercial sense in mind. I know that someone's going to dig that photo because they stood there, they got engaged there, they've spent their holidays growing up at Ocean Grove, they know those steps.
yeah,
And to have a big ass Aurora behind it, that's something completely different, and it takes people,
yeah,
it grabs their imagination. So I think, there are caveats here, but yeah, the amount of photos I saw that were just color,
yeah,
and that
yeah.
was all,
And
and like I said, get that shot, that's great. But then if the Aurora's hanging around, well,
yeah.
go for your life, get creative.
Well, last week we spoke about how to shoot the Auroras
Yes.
settings wise. What we
Yes.
didn't speak about was how to edit your Auroras, I don't think.
No, we certainly did not.
We did not. Editing Auroras, again, this I think contributes to what we see on our social feeds a lot, that some people just go berserk with the
Yeah.
saturation filters and the color temperatures and all these kind of things. Now, editing's very subjective, but when you're and the guys down here at Full Gamut who do all the printing down here, they did a massive post the other day saying,
That was quite funny.
guess we get a stock up on the green and magenta inks, which is exactly right, because people are going to go overboard with getting these printed and pushing those saturation
Yeah.
levels up. Just
Yeah.
be careful of your saturations and things like that, because you can have the greatest shot of an Aurora in the world, but if you overcook it in your editing, it's going to look terrible. It's not going to print. It's just going to be a throwaway shot.
Yeah. And it's easy to do because, again, there's so much excitement around the Aurora. And I guess in some ways, people are really, really keen to get the best photo they can get of it.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty. We've all been there where you're in Photoshop or Lightroom and you're editing your photo and you move a certain slider and you go, oh,
Yeah.
hang on. That's really could be anything. It could be dehaze, contrast, shadows, black, raise your back, blacks, drop your
Yeah.
whites, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it, totally. But I like to think that I sort of know now where the line is,
Yeah.
and
And
try
yeah,
not to cross it.
there is a line, and I think that's, again, it's the same people that, and again, they're a victim of putting stuff on social media, because you can put up the worst example of some clown vomit Aurora shot and everyone goes, that's amazing, that's incredible, and that's it, they're fixed. That's
Yeah,
their settings locked in.
yeah,
Like I got such a great result and feedback from people that have no idea about photography. That's how I'm going to do it.
hmm
I had again, Sang and Cheryl, who shot the Aurora from WA last week. We spoke about them. Cheryl asked me to have a look at one of her images, how she was editing it, because she was really struggling because she hadn't shot an Aurora before. So I gave her a few little tips and pointers, and the starting point from where she was to where we got to was poles apart, pun intended,
yeah,
where the color balance was completely different. The saturation was a little bit less, and stuff like that. But she didn't really know. So if she put that online and people went, "That's amazing," then that would have sort of fixed her in what she needs to edit Auroras in. So, you need to have some details in the colors. The one behind me, you don't want any loss of color in the green or the highlights there. You don't want to lose any. You can see all the individual beams going through all that green and orange and stuff. You don't want to lose that. You want to keep that.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your photos and you've lost detail in your colors, then you've probably overcooked it a bit.
Yeah, that's right. I think also we are compelled to edit Auroras mainly because they are not always that easy to see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
So last Saturday excluded because that was an exception to the rule. But even tonight when I was down on the coast, it didn't look like that, folks, to the naked eye. There's no way. Like it looked like a haze on the horizon, like most Auroras do from Victoria, from the southern Victorian coastline.
Yeah.
And then in camera, those colors started to come out. So it's very, very tempting, to grab that slider. But again, you just got to know the line. Can I just, I don't know how many times I've said this, please calibrate your monitors, people. Please, please, please calibrate your monitors.
Why?
Oh my God, Cameron, the amount of times I've had to, I'll get a photo from an enthusiast or a fairly talented photographer, and I'm trying to print an image for them.
Yeah.
And it's way too dark, or it's way too bright, or it's just not right. We're not getting the color right.
Yeah.
And the first question, have you calibrated your monitor? And the answer I normally get is, what's that mean?
Yeah.
So if you are a photographer of any kind, landscape, wedding, macro, portrait, whatever, pet photographer, calibrate your monitor, people. It's so easy to do with the right tool. I calibrated my monitors at work yesterday. It took me about 15 minutes with a very basic monitor calibration tool.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. I know people are yelling at me right now saying, well, it's okay for you. You've got a monitor calibrator. Well, you can buy one if you want to. If you can't afford one, or you don't want to buy one because you don't use them that much, go and ask your local camera club. They'll have one.
Oh, I was going to say, bring your monitor into Brendan. He'll calibrate it for you.
Hell no. Most camera clubs worth their salt should have a monitor calibrator that they can, that they will happily. And so if you're not calibrating your monitor, then you're asking for trouble. I had a very regular customer of mine the other day. She's a wonderful photographer, and it was funny. We actually had a laugh about this because she brought in these photos, and I put them up on my screen, and she always tells me she doesn't want any corrections because she's calibrated. So great, that's easy for me. Put up on the screen, they were that dark. I couldn't. It was funny, like how dark they were. So I corrected them and then printed them. And then when she came in, I showed her the corrections I did and then showed her the original file.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me in horror and she went, oh my God, I wouldn't have thought using someone else's PC would make that much of a difference.
Right.
So she'd actually used her friend's PC for some unknown reason she was away from home or whatever, and sent in the files that way. And it was ridiculous, the difference. So,
it's a simple thing. It's a simple thing to do. And, yes, it's another cost that you have to absorb with your photography. But again, if you're going to be printing stuff out and taking it a bit more seriously, then you definitely need to.
Can I give everyone a hack?
Give everyone a hack. You've given everyone a spray, so why not go for a hack?
Here's a hack, right? If you just cannot get your hands on a monitor calibration tool, it's very, very easy to do. If you want to do it, it won't give you 100% accuracy, but it will get a lot closer. It's quite easy. Just send a print into your local print lab, get them to print it with no corrections. Bring that print back and literally hold it beside your monitor, and then change your monitor's brightness, density, that sort of stuff, contrast, to as close as you can match that print. And then you have loosely calibrated your monitor.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems a bit risky.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not going to, as I say, it's probably going to get you within 5 or 6%. But if you want to get it right, then get a monitor calibrated. Goodness me, I've rabbited on too much.
I tend to like the idea of them bringing their monitors into you.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I can just picture a line out the door, everyone holding their monitors.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, sure. No worries. $150 a pop.
Or buy a calibrator for half that.
That's right. I don't think
Yeah.
they're quite that cheap, but
No.
there might be
Okay.
a couple out there that are, yeah. Now let's moving right along.
Moving right along.
I thought it'd be interesting, now that we're so far into the world of the Down South Photo Show. I thought we might talk about ourselves. Have we?
Have we done that before?
We do it all the time. But I thought
Hang on,
people quite often
I'm
ask.
just watching our subs go down.
People quite often ask me, whether it be on a workshop or just in the shop in general, how I got started in this game.
How did you get started in this game, Brendan?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But I also get asked by a lot of parents who have got kids who are very, very keen on photography, who want to know how they can get their child into photography as a profession.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask how I got my start. I can still honestly remember taking my first photo.
Right.
Yeah. Which sounds, you think I'm taking the piss, but I'm not.
It was the kangaroo shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it, and I just hung it up. That's it. I'm done.
That's it, you're done.
This thing's easy. Mic drop.
Yes.
No, it was on a school trip. It was in year 12. I was
Right.
so what's that? 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And my dad loaned me his. Now I want to say Hanamex. I'm almost certain it was a Hanamex.
Right.
Little camera, little point and shoot, 35mm point and shoot thing. The family camera, I guess it was, So 1990, we're talking here.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took it with me. We went to Warrnambool, and that was where it was a geography trip. So we were doing a trip there, and
about the erosion of the coastline.
Yeah, all that, which everyone did in year 12 geography.
That's right. Yeah.
But we went from Swan Hill, where I was at school, down to Warrnambool, and on a school camp. And I remember taking the camera out for the very first time at a little place called London Bridge.
Right.
And London Bridge was still there.
Right. Okay.
That's how long ago this is.
Do you have the photo?
I believe I do, and
Right.
I'm going to have to dig it out because it is literally the first photo I ever took.
Right.
Yeah.
Exposure spot on, everything, focus spot on.
Actually pretty good.
Right. Okay. Well, you're a born natural.
It was ridiculous. So yeah, I did that on the school camp, and the old days of 24 exposures, the whatever it was, and I got my photos back. Actually had my first had my first ever photo published in the school magazine that year.
Yeah. At the end of year magazine, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Of a photo of everyone on the school camp.
Right.
But yeah, that was literally my first foray into photography, and I remember taking the film in to Swan Hill Camera House.
Yeah.
And having them process it for me, and I reckon it would cost $8 from off the top of my head, and getting those photos back. And I do genuinely remember the thrill of taking the photos out and looking through them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I'm not going to get all fluffy and say, and then that was it. I decided to be a photographer forever. It wasn't like that at all.
No.
It was just, wow, that's cool. I can see why people are into photography.
It had a beat and you could dance to it.
Correct. And I had no idea about cameras, about exposure times, about anything. So that was where I first got, if you like, the bug. But what really did it for me was that same year, so towards the back end of my year 12, my oldest brother went to the States, and he came back through duty free.
Yeah, which worked actually, was good back then.
Yeah, and bought a Pentax K1000. So
and then you were sold, weren't you?
Well, he got it into the country and he used it for a little bit, and then basically just asked me if I wanted it. He didn't like it. It wasn't for him.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. And and then believe it or not, the very first roll of film I put through it was in Warrnambool. So so interesting. But anyway, that's how I caught. That's the real genesis of how I caught the bug of photography.
Yeah.
And if you had said to me 1990, Brendan, then that I'd be doing this now.
I'm doing it. What's a podcast?
Well, yeah, that's right. Get out of here, you witch. I would have laughed in your face that I was going to be a professional photographer
Yeah.
running awesome workshops with your good self,
Yeah.
tours,
Running a camera
running
shop.
camera
Yeah.
shop, which I've now done for 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite amazing when you think back and you think of
Yeah.
it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we ended up. So that's my genesis of my photography, Cam.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay. My
over to
turn.
you, my friend.
So yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like you've got me thinking now when I took my very first photo, and I reckon it would have been like, as you know, my dad was he worked for Olympus. He was a sales rep for many years, so we always had cameras around. But I don't remember mum and dad taking lots of photos, but I do remember taking some photos on a camera when I would have been probably under 10. I would have been 8 or 9 somewhere, but not really having any interest in it. Just mum give me the camera and say snap here or something like that. The first proper camera or first lot of proper photos I took would have been the same thing, probably on a school camp,
Yep.
maybe on like year 9 or something like that. And it was just a disposable throwaway Kodak disposable 24 exposure thing.
Yep.
So I would have done that. I remember taking photos. That was year 9, I think, was at Lake Nilakudi up in the country Victoria.
Yeah.
And I remember that well because 2 girls went missing, and we woke up the next morning. The SES were there, and all the people in orange and helicopters, and they'd gone
So
missing. And I
this
was
is where the helicopter stuff started.
This
This is not photography. This is
is
how
it.
the rescue
This is
choppers
how
come into your
helicopters
world.
start. Well, I remember that because I took a photo of the SES guys in their orange, and it was all foggy and stuff like that. And
Yep.
funnily enough, that also made the end of year magazine at
There
school
you go. See?
because that was a big event throughout the school. But um, my first camera that I got probably would have been a K1000. I think
Yeah.
I would have got one of those. And when I was about 15, 16, so it must have been around about year 9. There you go. There's your Pentax there.
It's a classic.
Um, so around about year 9, year 10, Dad got me a job over Christmas taking the Santa Claus photos at the Heidelberg Warringal Shopping Centre
Fantastic.
for the Kodak Express store, which was run by Rob and Lois, 2 lovely people that used to run that shop. And I was employed there for about 5 weeks to do all the Santa Claus photos. And I think that's where I got my K1000 from them guys. And then from there, I think with my grandparents living in Bright, I always went up there with a camera. To me, when I was younger, like 17, 18, 19, when I got my license, the camera came everywhere. It was in the car with me, and working at Camera House and other camera shops, you had a fairly good access to film and cheap processing and stuff like that. But I reckon my whole interest, like my real proper interest into loving landscape probably started when I was probably about 18 or 19, going up to Bright. And I think I remember going up to Mount Buffalo once and putting about 3 rolls of film through in a day, got some really lovely waterfalls, and I was hooked. Same as you. I got the photos back and went, oh, hell, how good's this?
Yeah.
Little white borders on my 6x4. I felt special because I ordered white borders, and yeah, it was fancy. So, and then it was all sort of uphill and downhill from there. And again, if I look back, back when I was a teenager, if I thought I was going to be doing this, no.
Yeah. No.
I wanted to be a pilot. That was my whole dream.
Cool.
But that never came about. And if I thought, I actually got something in my calendar the other day that I must have put in there ages ago, which is next month or the month after. I've had my business for 20 years.
Yeah, amazing.
In some way, shape, or form, whether or
Yeah.
not it's been weddings or portraits in Melbourne and real estate stuff that I was doing. But 20 years I've been running a photography business, which, is probably.
So when did you make your first dollar? Can you remember your first sale? First bit of ink. I'm not talking about your job with the Santa stuff. I mean, literally your own photography.
My own photography first paid gig would have been a wedding I did.
Wow.
The first wedding I did.
Man, that's in the deep end.
That is in the deep end. And it was one of my brother's workmates, and I'll never forget it. It was in the Parliament Gardens at top of Collins Street.
Yeah, nice.
And the groom rocked up. He looked like Hawkeye out of MASH with a Hawaiian shirt on and a hat. Okay. It was a very casual wedding. And I remember I had an EOS 650 or 630 with a USM 24-105 lens on it. And nice. I took about 8 rolls of film. And that was the first time I got paid for a job.
Yep.
And from there, then I did obviously heaps of weddings after that. But I remember that distinctly, only because the guy was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. It was a weird wedding. But Yeah, I think I probably charged $500 for it or something like that. That would have been something dirt cheap back
Wow,
then.
that's
Back
a
then,
lot of money
well,
back
back then
then.
would have been there, yeah. But I think it was about $500, and so that would have been, I reckon, it would have been 1998-ish,
Yep,
1999-ish.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And then
Um,
haven't made a cent since.
no, that's right. Yeah, you know how to make $2 million out of photography business, don't you?
That's right. Start with four.
Start with 4 million.
That's right.
Yeah, in terms of the first income I ever made from photography, it was
Yeah.
from the trip to Warrnambool. I was just down there with my girlfriend at the time. We were camping on the beach. Got up for an amazing sunrise. It was actually beautiful, and I waded out into the water. It was freezing, and I
Yeah.
waded out waist deep into the water to get this sunrise. It was actually really nice reflections and stuff. And lo and behold, I got the exposure right. Put the needle in the middle,
Yeah. Hope for the
F8 and
best.
show up.
Yeah.
And got this cool shot, and I stuck it in a I don't know if this is a worldwide an Australia wide shop, but there was a shop in Swan Hill that I think it was called like Crazy Prices or something like that, or
Oh,
it's
yeah, like a
your
reject
equivalent
shop.
of the reject shop now or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I literally printed this thing and jammed it in this frame, and it was my mate's 18th birthday, and I gave it to him as a present.
Oh, perfect.
And then someone at the party said the magic words, Cam.
Yeah.
You could make money. You could sell these.
You could sell them. I could. You mean what? I could be a millionaire?
Yeah. And then within probably a few weeks, I'd done a few more and put them into frames. And then I did the Swan Hill Rotary Market in the car park of the
Right.
train station, right beside the giant Murray cod,
Right.
was where I made my first dollar in photography.
It's a great feeling though, isn't it, when you sell something
Mate, it was awesome.
back then as well. Like
Yeah.
it's
I remember I think I sold something seriously for like $20.
right.
And I think I sold two pieces. So I might have made $40, but it cost me 180 to get there. So
That's a pretty good day up when you think about it.
yeah, that's right. And then yeah, from then on, like I eventually worked my way up to the world famous Yamundi markets up in Queensland.
Yeah.
And then yeah, from there, as they say, the rest is history. But yeah, it was interesting. It was just an interesting when I mentioned today that we'd be talking about this, and I actually stopped and went, hang on, let's go right back to, and I can pinpoint the exact photo, first time I took a photo and to what it led to. So
I can remember the first print I sold.
yes.
And the first print I sold was actually from going now when I go down to this place, it's completely different. But down at the Docklands, when you used to be able to get under the Balti Bridge.
Yes.
And you used to be able to get that big pier with the lights of the Balti Bridge. I used to go down there all the time shooting. I used to go around the city a lot doing nightscapes and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I was at Subaru Docklands, and I was talking to the guy there that I was looking at cars and something like that. And I said, "Oh, I've taken a lot of photos down there," and they actually bought a copy of it for one of his executive offices or something like that.
Cool.
Or sales offices. It's only a little one, but it was a picture because in the background you could just see the Subaru logo, which I didn't even know was there. But that was the first one I sold. I don't know how much I sold it for. And then I had the same buzz as you. I'm like, oh well, I can live off this now.
That's right. I'm gonna made in the shade. Here we go.
I don't need to do spivs at Camera House. I'll just sell prints.
Yeah, that's right. And now here I am, well into my 50s, and you well into your 40s. And yeah.
Speaking of Camera House DigiDirect, I have something arriving tomorrow from DigiDirect.
Oh, does it have a Fuji logo on it?
It does.
Very good.
Yes, I had a funny conversation with our friend Mark today.
Which means I get to use it because you're going to bring it to the Great Ocean Road, right?
Yeah, I might shoot the whole thing on that.
You should.
I had a good conversation with our mate Mark, and he's a funny guy. But they sent me a message 2 days ago saying it's here. You better pick it up. So I'm trying to get him to organise it. He's too busy signing autographs because he's a celebrity in there.
He is.
And so he rings me up today, goes, "It's in the mail. Talk about it later." That was it. Hung up. I'm like, okay, we'll work that out later then. So hopefully tomorrow I get my hands on it.
Mark's been very busy. He's sent me out a couple of very, very nice Sony lenses today as well. So
right, yes. Okay.
He's a good man. Very good man. Now, so if you would like to comment below and tell us how you got your start in photography, we're fascinated to learn this sort of stuff and to know this sort of stuff.
You know what was a great reaction last week was when you said if everyone's listened to every episode.
That's right.
And almost everyone had.
There was quite a lot of comments with people who have listened to every episode. Yeah.
So maybe we should say, make a comment down below. Tell us if you've the first time you sold a print or made money off your
Yeah,
photography. If you
that'd be
have,
that'd be
if you
interesting.
have, what was it? If there's a horror story attached to it, let us know. We'll pop it up next week on the show.
There's nearly always a horror story. Now, on the back end of this camp
Hmm.
is leads to a natural discussion of where do we see ourselves going with this thing? Like,
I don't
you
think
know,
it's sustainable, to be honest.
no, I completely concur.
Yeah,
So, where do we want to be in 5 years from now?
well, ideally, this is going to sound really sobby, but
No,
I'd
no,
like to.
where do we want to be? Not where are we going to be, but it's like our dreams, our hopes, our
Yeah, I
aspirations.
was going to get all emotional here. I was going to say I
Mm,
would like to be still sitting here talking to you
yes,
in 5 years. Can you
nice.
imagine how I'll be a lot grayer? You'll probably have a little bit less hair.
What, you won't even be 50.
Yeah, well, I'll be 50 actually.
Oh,
I'll
you
be
will be
right.
exactly. That's
I'll be
right. You just
50.
turned 45. Yes, true. Okay,
5 years, that's like dog years. It's like 100 years. Um, in 5 years' time, I'm hoping that I'm still running my business and doing what I love.
Yep.
I'm hoping that, to be honest, I don't want too much to change. I'm pretty happy in my life
Yeah.
at the moment with what I'm
Yep.
doing. And any busier, I'm in trouble,
Yep.
which is actually a bit of a tricky bit for me at the moment to try and put a cap on it.
Yep.
But if I'm doing what I'm doing and having time at home and hanging out with friends and going around traveling, like I don't think you can ask for a better office than what I do at the moment. I'm pretty
I agree.
lucky, and I don't argue about that. Um, so yeah, that's not much. If I could 5 years from now, if I'm doing the same, I think I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, good. I'm similar. And I agree that I think I don't know. I think we've reached a point now where camera retail in particular has been really whittled back.
Yeah,
And now it's sort of become a bit of a survival of the fittest sort of scenario.
yeah,
I love the fact that there is still a place in this world for an independent camera store. I think that's fantastic, and that they are still being supported for the
yeah.
most part. I haven't seen a lot of fall off, particularly in the last 2 years, of independent camera stores. So that's great. So thanks
Yeah.
to everyone who not shops with me, but that uses an independent camera store over one of the box movers. That's very,
Ooh,
very cool. So
box.
like specialty camera stores. And I throw DigiDirect into that box of a specialty camera store because they are still a specialty camera store. They're not selling
Hmm.
fridges and microwaves and air conditioners and TVs. They're selling cameras. That's what they do.
Question without notice. How
Yes.
many independent camera stores are there? Like I to be honest, I only know a few. Like
Yeah,
you've got
I
like
think
the camera houses, you got the
yeah, I think there'd be about 300 in Australia,
really?
yeah, maybe 350, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
There is still quite a few. Camera house wise, no, look, don't quote me here, but I think there's about still 70 or 80 camera houses around. I
So
think I could be wrong.
all these independent camera stores, they're all just got their own name.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Without cutting your own nose off, can you give me an example of another one? Like just
Photoland in
photo
Sydney.
Photoland. Okay. All right. Never heard of them.
Photoland.
Uh,
And then you got all your camera houses as well. Peninsula Camera on the other side of the bay from
oh,
here. They're
Frankston.
awesome.
I used to know the people that used to own that. Yep.
Lovely people. And
Yep.
doing great things, like really
Okay.
doing great things in their local community. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing, like this Aurora event has helped my business immensely.
Yep.
Because it's pardon the pun, refocused people onto photography because you
Yep.
can't see the Aurora without a camera.
Yep.
All right. You just have to use a camera of some kind, whether it's your phone or an actual real camera.
And the other thing as well with that, sorry to interrupt,
You're right.
is that you're a photographer running that shop. So
Yeah.
you're going out there and bringing these photos back and then putting them into your store and showing them off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where these other chain people probably don't have people. They'll have staff that go out and do it.
Yeah.
But your store is actually running with that whole story, and it's part of the week for your store.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And on the back of the Aurora events, I've sold 5 places in workshops. I've sold a place on my 4-day ballerine tour workshop. Link in description.
Ka-ching.
I've printed like a lady today ordered 3 canvas prints of her own Aurora photos.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff. So that's great. But I digress. What I was getting at was it's as far as where I see myself in 5 years. I see myself stepping back from retail. I need to. Retail has been a massive part of my life, and for the most part, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. However, it is a grind, and I'm in a position now, a very, very fortunate position where I've got a couple of children who are now almost independent. They're not far from flying the coop. So, I don't want to sort of go gracefully into the night and retire. I actually want to ramp this up for the workshops, for the tours, that sort of stuff. I mean, you've seen me on the tours, Cam.
Yeah, you're terrible. I wouldn't go on one.
No, I mean, I love it. I love it. I love doing those tours, and I love teaching people, and I love because, and you get this, you're the same. That moment when the penny drops for someone, it's the best feeling. It's so good. And you can actually see it in their face. They're like, I get it now. I understand photography, or I understand that part of photography, So,
and you're right. It's a great thing. And I think as well, like I lived through your life a little bit through your store, and we share stories and successes and stuff like that. And I think, again, I agree, probably backing out of retail and giving yourself a bit more of this fun that we do with workshops.
Yeah.
You're great at what you do. You're great at what you teach. You're great with people. So it makes sense that you come and take all my business and put me out in the street. So that's fine. Go for it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Bad luck, mate. One other area that I'm thoroughly enjoying is printing. So, I can see myself stepping back from retail insofar as, not so much of the mums and dads, or, people coming in with their phones and they want to print off photos of Christmas or photos of a family reunion and that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I hate the phrase fine art printing. I don't know why that doesn't sit right with me. I just love printing great landscapes, particularly on canvas, and particularly when you frame them up and they just, I don't know. There's something so rewarding about seeing your photo in print and putting it on your wall.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So if I can work out, and I'm sure I will work out that balance where I'm doing a lot more of that, and then photography tours with yourself or on my own, or teaching photography, but as a whole package as well, where okay, we get someone in who's an absolute beginner, we sell them the camera, we teach them how to use it, we do their first workshop, we do their second workshop, we take them on a tour, we get an awesome print of their own that they have done through that learning process. And that might take 2 years, but that's fantastic. And at the end of it, they get this massive canvas print on the wall of a photo that they did. No, I mean, that's full circle stuff, and quite something to aspire to, I reckon.
Yeah, buy a camera, get a free workshop in canvas.
That's right. Yeah, free.
The camera's 10 grand, but it's still free.
That's right. Yeah. And it's a piece of shit Canon. Sorry. What?
Speaking of Canon,
that was just. I love Canon, and this was just a segue to
really bullshit.
A bit of gear talk. Canon. What are you doing, Canon? They have teased us all with a flagship model. The R1 is.
Hang on. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Another Canon model. Oh, amazing. Like, who gives a shit, really?
The marketers love it, don't they?
Canon bring out more cameras a year than I have bloody cut
lunches. Did you see the marketing where they had
they rolled the trunk out?
Yeah. And then the box has got a ribbon on it. I'm like, what are you doing? Come on, Canon.
Canon needs to really get their hand off it. And you know what? I'm looking at it now. It looks shit. It's a shit looking camera because it's got like this weird fall off. It doesn't have a prism anymore. It looks shit. We're not cutting this out. It's staying in.
You've made me cry. That's so funny.
But like they usually have the prism bump, and all it is now, it's just this wanky slope. It looks terrible.
You know what? I always thought as a kid, the coolest car in the world ever built was the Lamborghini Countach, right?
Yes. Yep.
You know why? Because it had edges. It had square, and it had big friggin' flared wheel arches and stuff. It looked awesome.
Then Canon brought out the R1 and you went, that looks shit.
And then I had friends who, they love Porsche.
No.
And I'm like, no, they're too curvy. You want hard edges on your camera.
Like this, I don't get it. Like, it looks like it's half finished, to be honest.
Let's be frank. The Canon R1 is not targeted at us.
Who is it targeted at?
People who want to have the latest toy.
Left-handers, I reckon.
It'd be interesting, actually, because Sony are smashing it with their market share and
Mm.
in photography, and it'll be interesting to see how much ground Canon can claw back with this thing. So looks aside, do we know anything about it yet? Have we got
Nah, well,
nothing?
I know it's mirrorless and it's full frame.
Full frame
And
mirrorless. Okay.
look, I'd pay a pre-order for this. It's a flagship EOS R camera.
Yep.
Take my money now.
Yep.
It's got a new image processing system.
Wow.
Wow.
So
And
it should have.
and it has advancements in autofocus and image quality. Like seriously, who at Canon wrote this? And is it the same idiot that designed the camera? Goes, look, like, don't worry about the Pro I'll do that as well. Like he's just cutting corners everywhere we go. It's just disgusting. I don't get it. I saw the ad for it today, and I was actually a bit excited. Like, oh, top of the line Canon, and all I had to see was the ad. I went, no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Do we know when it's coming? Is it
overview?
Nothing like so. This is just a classic tease by Canon to say, "Hey, we're working on something." No, really, we are.
Yeah,
really, we're working.
Aiming,
Don't leave us. We're working on something.
Not only have they missed half the camera with its design and slopey bits. This is the prepare to get ahead of the game. Okay, wow. Okay, yep. Take my money now again.
Yeah.
And then it says it's aiming for 2024. The EOS R1 is aiming to be released this year.
Yeah,
aiming. Does that mean you're going to get one this year or?
Yeah. Okay. And my mail is $11,000.
$11,000.
That's my mail.
Get your hand off it, Canon. Seriously. Take your head out of your ass and start designing proper looking camera. You know what I do though? I do like the front. It's got like a funny grip, like it's got like a skin over it. That looks pretty cool. I'll give it that.
Okay.
But if I have anyone on my workshop rock up with an R1, be prepared to get covered in, hung in shit on you. Because
okay,
I'm going to lose customers, but I just don't like the look of it.
It's going to be fascinating to see.
So how many megapixels is going to be? 60?
Oh, have to be
60 megapixel,
which is 30 too many, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's
35 too many, really.
Full frame, good on you. It's still, I bet you, I tell you what, they haven't put up the back photo of it. If this doesn't have a flippy screen, I will laugh my ass to the grave if it doesn't, because they don't put a flip screen on their cameras. Like seriously, they don't put flip screens on most of their cameras these days.
No, they don't. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And
so to summarize, we think it's going to be a great camera, and I think you should start saving your 11,000.
Wonderful Canon users out there, please take everything we've got to say with a grain of salt.
No, you can take me seriously. I think
it's become our thing to hang it on Canon, but they make wonderful cameras, and I've seen great photos out of Canon cameras over the years. I own a couple of them, so there.
Geez, aren't you backpedaling? What else has got on this thing? Sign up to win a chance. Sign up to be in the chance to win $500.
I will guarantee, and I will bet my lefty on it, that somewhere in the marketing really high up will be the letters AI.
You reckon it's just going to be AI heavy?
It'll be AI autofocus. Has someone already used that phrase? It will, I guarantee you, because this is the buzzword amongst marketers at the moment. For God's sake, Callaway put out a golf club recently that's called the AI Smoke.
Maybe it's the same guy. Maybe he got fired from Callaway. He's moved over to Canon.
It might have even been TaylorMade. It was one of them, but it was like, really?
Hang on. What's this?
You've called a golf club AI Smoke.
Oh, I love this. You're going to love this. I've just Googled it. Sorry, folks. We're taking this show a bit longer.
That's all right.
Digital Camera Warehouse.
Yes.
Who I wouldn't buy a camera from if my life depended on it. They have it on a Google ad going for $999,999.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be that expensive.
No, why would they have it up there like that? $99,999.
Well, you read it, so maybe that's why they put it there like that. That's probably not far off how much it's going to be, by the way.
That's how much you're going to have to pay to get your friends back once you buy this camera.
All right, moving right along. We've got we've got photography word of the week.
Should we do that?
I am assured this week that it's
what was last week's,
and not something crass.
Did anyone Google that? If you Googled what that was last week, I apologize.
It did earn us a slab though, so thank you.
Thank you. I got the book ready. I got the big book.
Thank you, Alison, for your slab of
smegma is not in this book, but if you want to read
Alison, for your slab of smegma.
it. She sent me a message. She said, I almost drove off the road when I heard you say that.
Is there any reason why the photography word of the week is in capitals this week? Is it an acronym?
No, it's not actually.
Okay,
sorry,
okay.
It's just, yeah, sorry.
Photography word of the week is stilb.
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 What is a stilb? It's something. What is a stilb?
What is a stilb? Okay. And this will be very apparent that I have no idea, but stilb. Is it a piece of equipment?
Incorrect. No.
Oh, damn it. Is it is it's got something to do with physics?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more the science around. It is a sciencey book, so yeah.
Okay. Has it got to do with lens flare?
Ooh. No.
Okay.
No, but I'll let you know what it is, okay?
Go.
You weren't far. You're going down that hole a little bit.
Yep.
So stilb is a unit of luminance. The luminance intensity emitted or reflected from a surface per unit projected area. So it's what the light measurement of luminance is off a reflective surface.
Okay.
So a surface whose luminance is one stilb emits or reflects 1 lumen of light per square centimeter.
Oh, there you go.
So
learn something new every day.
So that's a pretty good one. So we measure light in lumens.
So why don't they measure polarizers in negative stilbs?
I don't know, Brendan. Why does Canon make an one that looks like that? Like,
why does my brain work the way
these are questions that we'll never know the answers to.
This is true. Cam, beer donations for this week, please.
You've already mentioned Alison, who bought us a slab of
Thanks,
smegma.
Alison.
Yeah, the slab of smegma is on its way to Brendan right now.
Cheers.
What did you order? Coronas. You want a Coronas? That's what you get. And Jenny C,
hey, Jenny,
who I have the pleasure of having another on. She's coming on my Tarkine workshop on the weekend.
You'll be spending the next 2 weeks with Jenny.
I've been 3 weeks with her because she was on the ones before.
Bruni as well, yeah.
Jenny may as well just move in down here.
That's right. Good on you, Jen.
When I'm not here, she can take my spot.
Well, maybe she should have her on the show.
What do you reckon? If you'd like to see Jenny on the show, leave a comment below.
That's right. Exactly. All right. Let's drive this baby into the ground. Cam, what's coming up for you? Well, you just mentioned what's coming up for you.
Yeah, that's it. Tarkine, and then up to see you.
Tarkine. You lucky bugger. What a lovely part of the world.
Yes. I've got a nice little group of 3 people, so they all fit in the 4-wheel drive. We can just cruise all around. We can go off-road a bit.
This will be comfortable.
It will be very comfortable. Nice. And then I'm up your way doing some Great Ocean Road stuff. Yeah,
that's going to be one out of the box. So we've got our Great Ocean Road tour starting next weekend. We'll probably sneak another episode in between now and then, but or will we? Maybe we won't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And yeah, thoroughly looking forward to that. It's good to be running a workshop in my own backyard, so that'll be grouse.
Grouse.
I will be.
Yes, I've had requests for Auroras.
Oh, consider it done.
That's what I said.
No worries. Yeah. Aurora. Come on, give me a challenge. I'm actually heading there tomorrow, which is today for people listening to the show, or a few days ago if you're catching up with this late.
Yeah.
To do a little, being tipped off on a couple of little spots. So I want to go and check them out with my own eyes before.
When do we start? The 26th of May.
The 26th of May. So in 10 days' time, we'll be heading down the Great Ocean.
So being the amazing workshop runners we are,
yes,
we would need to certainly know the moon phases, wouldn't we?
Yes.
In case there is an aurora, let me have a quick look.
It is a waning moon. It will be full on the 24th. So,
and it rises at.
Yeah. No. If we get an aurora at sunset, we might be able to catch it just before that moon pops up.
That's the plan, is it?
Yeah. That's the plan. That's what's going to happen. Yes. Yeah, so I'm heading down there tomorrow to scout a couple of locations, say hello to people in Apollo Bay, and warn them that we are coming.
And don't forget, we've got our little golf tournament at the end.
Of course.
Has that been booked in?
No, but I will. That'll be good.
The Mayor of Ocean Grove.
If you would like to join us on a workshop, jump over to dsps.com.au. That is dsps.com.au. Hit the workshops page, have a look through, see if something tickles your fancy, and join on. Come and hang out with us for a week or so as we take a few days as we take some photos.
You know what we could do? if someone buys an R1, we'll give them like a massive discount to come on the workshop.
They'll need it.
They'll need it because they'll have no friends. They'll be sitting in the back of the bus, and we'll leave them behind at every location.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should wrap this up.
Cheers. I hope Canon don't listen to this.
As if. This has been episode 121 of the Down South Photo Show. We will catch you next week for episode 122. Bye for now.
Get your shit together, Canon. It's terrible.
Bye.